So, first of all, Lancy, thank you for being a part of the beta program. It's really heartening to have people like you join the program first. It's difficult to trust an app or a system which is in the experimental stage, but you
Correct.
went ahead and tried to test it out. So, thank you for that. I'm grateful for your being a part of the beta journey. Let's see if you can tell our viewers a bit about yourself and something about your investment journey.
Okay, for me, basically, I am a retired person and I got retired from TCS, the PPO sector in 2023. So happened that at that point of time, I was just wondering, like, for me, share market was something like you could say like a smoke screen. Like I was told very clearly that don't meddle with the share market because that's a gambling place where people gamble about things. You can maybe earn a lot, but within a day or maybe within a few hours, you'll lose everything. And it was a sort of a thing where I have never placed my trust. For me, getting any returns for investment would always be like the fixed deposits or something like that. Now, it so happened that 2023, there were a few things that investment took place. And for me, you were a colleague of my wife from her company. And she used to tell me that you are starting something. And we said like, since we knew you, the first step of the trust started. The first few steps I took where I realized that, okay, there is someone from share market being a commodity, moving to a person. That is what happened. Okay, then there was a face to the share market. Now it so happened that I spoke to you. You told me about so and so the beta version and all that. For me, still that was like still something very vague. It was not really making sense. Like, what was I supposed to do? How was it supposed to work out? That was how it was. And but I decided like maybe with the little investment because what you told me really helped me because you said that you could start things in a small way. Starting in a share market was always like owning like so many shares and having this investment like we could not think of as middle class people. At least could not even think of because we did not know about the returns of investment, all that. And when you told me, you said, you can start so and so. We'll help you give a certain guidance about how things have to be done and all that, and we'll take it forward. So with a minimum investment that you guided me to, I got into this particular journey. And I can really say that for me, what is more important is interacting with people. See, the idea is there, but whenever something happens, I know that behind that thing, that app,
Mhm.
is someone who
Absolutely.
I can talk to, who I can relate to, who I can react. So this is what has been my mid start, and I can really say that I think it's more than a year now that I'm into this particular system, and I feel I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
Absolutely. We started off very small. Trust is one thing in terms of, but trusting with money is a different ball game altogether.
Exactly.
Lancy, so you've already told us a bit about also your journey with ID, how it started. Tell us now a bit about ID. How has that journey been? You mentioned you're happy with the journey. So tell us something about any. What have you learned in the last 1 year or so? As far as I recall, when we started off, you're new to the stock market.
Correct.
Then there is part of the market which is meant for the long-term wealth building.
When we started off, if you remember, Vikas, is that it was more or less more of the things were manual, where we used to do it manually. Placing orders was manually. Any transaction to be done was manually done. So it has been a learning curve where from that from that manual doing the transactions and all that, where things have become automated now, where like placing a order become easy. End of the day, when I receive the update and the order to be placed is happening in a few click of the
Clicks.
buttons. Whereas earlier, it was a little bit this. And that was a time when I learned, maybe I studied, because what was happening is that whenever you look at the stock market, you really do not know which are the shares which you can build up on. So when you gave me some pointers about certain shares, how to invest, then there is also another thing that you taught me was, like, I did not know we have to buy a certain number of shares to get into this system, because if I buy one or two shares or maybe something that is not catching up, that was what I learned. Secondly, placing of the orders, how to get into this, and when I buy something in Zerodha, how to get it maybe collaborated with aaidee. So this is something which it's been a quite an exciting journey for me. Even the particular thing about what you said is about the volatility of the market, where suddenly I realized during the past some months, when we realized that the stock market was more on the down, and definitely as the first timer, it was like the voices were there around me also, whether have you done the right thing, have you done the right thing, are you on the right track. Like as a layman, the first thing that someone would ask me is that, have you earned anything, did you get anything in return, what have you done. You're just putting money, something that is shown is in red most of the time. Sorry. This is something where an investor starts slowly to build himself, slowly getting used to the market. It's something called in layman terms becoming a little thick skinned.
Absolutely.
Becoming a little thick skinned and saying that, okay, at the present moment, nothing is happening. At the present moment, the market is not doing well. Maybe that this is a passing phase. So slowly I started getting into that mode of being into the passing phase and moving forward. Slowly by slowly, as days went by, the market took a little upward swing. I saw my shares from red moving into the green. So what I have invested, the return started happening. So it's quite a good thing, because another thing what happens is that you become more programmed, you become more systematic, because
Absolutely.
at the beginning of the day, it would never be my habit to look at what the stock market is starting off or what it is ending with at the end of the day. Also in the evening, getting the orders placed, monitoring it a bit, and then looking at various other stocks, maybe where I I say, okay, these are doing well, so maybe I can take a guidance or what do we do, how do we do it, So that is really helping, and I really feel that the journey is fruitful. According to me, for me, journey is fruitful.
Absolutely. You mentioned, I mean, is we do get thick skinned after a while. Just discussing this, most people, they know that the stock market is volatile. There will be ups and downs. But what happens is when things are upside, everyone is very happy. It's only when the downturn happens, people start to question themselves, and then everyone else around you starts to question, is it a right decision? So that's quite. But there are some investors who have figured out, in fact, these downturns are the places which is going to propel you forwards, the roller coaster. So in the roller coaster of these, to say the least, it's quite scary for a lot of people.
Yes,
But then
yes.
there are a lot of people who enjoy it. But the financial roller coaster, the equity markets, the roller coaster in the equity market, you become thick skinned after some time, and you actually start to enjoy the roller coaster journey of that. If the stock is fundamentally good, obviously the underlying assumption is the stock must be fundamentally good. Lancy, so you used the app for some time, and you rightly said we started off manually. Obviously, that time we did not have an app, just the algorithms and things like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was the starting point. And you've been a part of the journey for almost a year. Anything or feature or philosophy or anything about ID that comes to your mind which you feel is the most relevant for your journey, investment journey?
One of the things which I would like to say is that one is the pointers that it sends out. Like once you show interest in certain shares, certain companies, where they try to let you know that this is how the shares are doing in that particular for that particular company. One is that. Another thing is that uh, the the pricing of the share. So like at how much should I buy it or how much should I sell it. That feature is something very helpful. I know for the past few months, I've not been very actively getting into the system and checking the shares and all, a little bit away from it uh, due to some most of the domestic reasons. Otherwise, I used to do it. I used to catch up on certain. I think I should more or less catch up now and take it forward. Where maybe a step forward rather than remaining at the same place. Take a step forward, see if there is anything that can be where the investment can be increased. I have to work it out.
And just to add to that, so obviously, in fact, this is a system where the idea is not to be very active. Obviously, it's good to be on top of your investment at least every month or so. Review your investments, keep a track of what's happening. But again, for different reasons, people because of travel or things like that, people are not able to give time on it. And that's where this system actually proves into be handy. Think of it like an trusted assistant, obviously after it has earned your trust. And then a lot of the things you could delegate to it, and then you from time to time just monitor
Right.
things are okay. And rather than trying to be, in fact, the metric we never track is time spent on the app. We want people to do whatever they are doing in their life,
Yes.
be it a business, be it a job or whatever. Concentrate on that. And investment, obviously, because it's an important part of your life. But on investment, you do not need to spend a lot of your time.
Exactly.
And then every once in a while, keep a track of what's happening. Things. Anything, Lancy, you find that would make sense to be added to ID? Anything that you find lacking because of your learnings that you have done in the past 1 year? Any,
Correct.
if there was one thing that would be helpful to you or to a lot of other investors?
Yeah, one thing I was thinking, and I really wanted this was a good forum that you built up, like maybe a small interviews with people who are with you. I think one of the things that I've been thinking very actively over the past maybe months, I can say, which I have not voiced out, but I would like to voice out now, is that if ID can have a particular system where it throws up suggest this stock is maybe a sort of a studied suggestion that this stock will be helpful, where investors can pick that up, maybe some company which has a good forecast, which may do well maybe in the couple of years or whatever. This can help investors because what would happen is that it becomes makes life easier for them rather than going through all the various listings and picking up something. If ID can do that, for the investors, it becomes easy for the makes life easy for the investors because suppose if that investor is having maybe suppose have the lakh a lakh of rupees in his hand and is is in the process of deciding what he has to invest in, whether he has to go in for a fixed deposit or a mutual fund or maybe buy stocks. And if suppose at that particular point of time, at that particular point of time, ID throws up and says that this stock, this particular company, if you buy it at so and so, but don't give a price. Don't say that if 10 rupees will become 100 rupees. That is what certain people are doing and misleading. But if you say that this particular company looks good, prospects look good, the industry that this particular company is going into is going to do well during the next few couple of years or maybe in the long term and good stock to buy. So it becomes easier for that investor to decide, okay, fine, in that from that 1 lakh, I put 50,000 over here. I buy this particular stock. So what will happen is that ID will become a sort of a investment partner, a sort of a this for that particular person who like on a maybe not on a daily basis, maybe it can be a weekly exercise, a weekly thing throwing up that these are the stocks we have studied and look good for investment. So on a weekly basis or something, if that happens, I think that will be a major leap for the app. It will be a really a major leap because what happens is that see we see a lot of things in Facebook. We are seeing people coming up with a lot of things. We have certain people who are saying, you join me in the journey in the next couple of months, you'll be like earning in. No, that That is not going to happen. It is
Absolutely.
just
I mean,
it is just for
any
the
rational person knows that. Yeah.
yeah, but people would jump for that. But then if looking at ID and the way ID has moved in the last, I joined in June 2024, so it's like a year and a couple of months, and I really feel that it is a slow and steady growth of ID that has happened, and which is really good because other than taking jumps, this has happened slowly, and I think
Right.
this would be a right. That it would show, it would be a direction, one direction for the
True.
investors. That is what I feel.
Thanks. So, this is a point that keeps on coming up at different times. People say, "Ki, how can I get a recommendation?" And as you said, so we have gone through this journey in the last 1 year from being a manual this thing to now
Yes,
at least that. So this is one thing. Even we are looking at what's the regulation around it. How can we do it? Obviously, there are a couple of recommenders. And if we can at least get them, and then that trust also builds up with these recommenders. So people can recommend the recommenders in that sense that this recommender is good and so on. We don't need to take very high risk, at least to understand the product and for people to build up a core portfolio. Obviously, they can rely on low risk, safe companies. For the others, there are a lot of people for the other high beta companies for
very
that.
true.
But yeah, this is something we've gotten a lot of word, and I think
Mm,
it's the right time to at least look at it in terms of what's the regulation, how can we make it happen.
correct.
Yeah. So, as you said, now you are in your prime years, enjoying your life after given your due to society. And you've seen the equity markets even before you joined, but you had some idea of the equity markets. As if I recall, you were a part of an equity organization at a point,
Yes, yes,
not gotten into it directly, but yeah, you were a part of the thing. So, you've seen the equity market evolve from wherever it was 30 years,
exactly,
40 years ago to
exactly.
what it is now, and then now also tasted some of the fruits of equity.
Correct.
So, first of all, tell us what's the difference you find, and then any parting comments or thoughts or advice to equity investors like yourself or even newbie in, I mean, young people. What would be your advice as a person who has started in his journey into equity?
For me, as you rightly said, for me, I've seen certain pictures and other videos, earlier of how the stock market was. The stock market was in Dalal Street, where literally, you used to see people literally jumping over one another and uh, you know for pitching for the shares. I've seen that. I've seen applying for shares on paper, filling up the form, depositing it in the bank, and applying for the shares. We've gone through that. Those were scenes, and then slowly the stock market evolving online was
Mhm.
something that I saw when I joined this company. I think in 2002, I joined
Okay.
this particular company. It was one of the top stockbrokers. I was just there. I was an admin guy, general admin. But I used to see these guys, like just on the ticker, looking at the price on the ticker, and the way they used to hit the keyboard and buy, sell, and the way the lot of talking, discussing, shouting, and all that was happening during that marketing hours, and the directors of the company also getting actively involved, and because they used to live on that point something brokerage, which they
Mhm.
used to earn, and like the day if the stock market came down, it was like those guys had hell. That was the scenario. So I saw that. I saw that happening. And again, that is what maybe again put me away saying that, oh, I'll not touch this. I'll not touch this. But maybe 20 years later, maybe getting into that same thing, and where things moved much. Today I don't have to fill up any details or anything. It's just a click of few buttons and the mouse. That I can get place an order, get into the stock market. In fact, once I've got into this system, I feel more assured now and more taking, as you said, slowly building up. The confidence builds up, and you more or less start learning the system, learning the stock market, learning what is exactly happening. Okay. It's another matter that, maybe we may not know why exactly the stock market goes up and down some days. Certain days we know about it because of the international matters that are happening happening, and some political matters, certain maybe even natural calamities or something or the other, which may be affecting certain companies, and that is the reason why they go up and down. So it's a good thing. And for me to let a certain person know, let myself, who started off without knowing anything. Okay, I've seen things happening with people who are dealing with the stock market. But for me, from that scary scenario to getting into a more assured scenario is something which is quite a journey,
Progress.
quite a thing. Because today I can say that I don't have to be so scared about the stock market. The stock market is not something so scary that as people made it out to be. And I can really advise people, I can really tell people that take small steps, but take firm steps, and take it forward. And don't expect fruits in a couple of because you see, even to take it from the natural surrounding, a tree does not bear fruits as soon as you plant it. So if I planted it, maybe wait for the fruits to bear. And in the meantime, as you buy or sell a fraction of the shares that you're having, that is how you start moving, and you start interacting, reacting with the stock market, and it moves forward. So I would really say thanks to ID. And every time I have tried to come back and say I'm a bit stuck over here, or I'm finding here I don't have the answer, your way of explaining things and of putting on things, like it's really helped, and I think things will be wonderful.
Yes, that's the most advice. Take baby steps, firm steps, and not get too much carried away by promises which sound too good to be true. If I mean something is too good, sounds too good to be true, it
Correct.
probably is too good to be true.
Exactly.
So there's no magic wand in the stock market.
Exactly.
So yeah, thank you so much, Lancy, for being a part of
Welcome.
this journey. Yeah, look forward to many more of these conversations. Thank you so much
Definitely.
for giving us this
Definitely.
time.
Thank you, Vikash.